in technology. The hostels at Meru University are designed to comfortably house 995 students, offering ample facilities for their needs. With modern amenities and a conducive environment, students find a welcoming home away from home. From spacious accommodations to essential amenities, the hostels ensure a comfortable and enriching experience for all students. Meru University is a hub of innovation and ambition. It fosters creativity and empowers students to shape the future through groundbreaking innovation. As a research hub and home to athletic excellence, it inspires greatness in every aspect. Welcome to a place where potential knows no bounds. Under strong leadership, Meru University's management effectively coexists with the surrounding community. The nearby Nchiru provides convenient students' residence and access to essential supplies such as food and clothing. This symbiotic relationship enhances students' life and contributes to the overall well-being of both the university and the local community. The Imenti Forest near Meru University serves as an elephant maternity site, promoting local tourism and forest conservation. It offers students a relaxing retreat after school, enhancing their well-being amidst nature's tranquility. The community values Meru University students who reside in nearby villages, fostering a close bond between students and the locals. This interaction enhances community support and enriches the cultural exchange within the university's surroundings. Discover Meru University of Science and Technology, where innovation flourishes and dreams come true. Join us in shaping the future, exploring limitless opportunities and creating groundbreaking discoveries. Connect, engage, and be part of our legacy. Meru University of Science and Technology, Foundation of Innovations. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this wonderful session. I hope your health break has been of great use. Interacting with the other students from other universities is also good because that creates a mutual benefit or just a mutual friendship. Now to the second session, and our theme for this second session is promoting inclusivity and accessibility in technology. Now this panel will consist several people, including the faculty from Chuka University, faculty from Kemo University, the librarian from Meru University of Science and Technology, an alumni from Neruk, a student from Tharaka Nithi University, and an ICT personnel from Meru University of Science and Technology. And finally, we'll be having two student moderators, that is from Kemo and Meru University. Now, the second session is going to be taken about by two great people. I would like to introduce them. That is Austin Wanjala on my left, and to my right, that is Faith Zawadi. I hope this session will be of great use and great benefit to you. Remember, we are live on Meru University. That is the YouTube channel. Keep following us there. And then also we are on slido.com, slido.com, and we have a code. We've pinned it on our YouTube channel so that you can use to engage with us. And remember, to our online audience, just mention where you are, your name, from which university, and any relevant questions will be responded to after this session. I take this chance to welcome the moderators. I hope you will enjoy. This is Meru University of Science and Technology, where we are foundation of innovations. Welcome all.
Thank you very much, Max. As you have heard, I'm Faith Zawadi, a student in taking computer science in Meru University. I'm also the Chair Lady Innovations and mentor at I Am the Code Africa. I'm very happy to be in this panel and being together with people who are impactful for computing and also for the rest of the world. So I'd like to welcome all of them to introduce themselves briefly as we go on to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Zawadi. I'm David Morethi Kaje, lecturer, Computer Science Department, Kenya Methodist University.
Well, thanks again, Zawadi, for giving us this opportunity. My name is Gogo Kevin, a faculty member from Chuka University.
Thank you so much, Zawadi. My name is Ruth Gibendi, and I'm librarian here at Meru University.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Francis Karimi from Tharaka University, taking computer science, specializing in cybersecurity.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Faith Zawadi. My name is Depleting Mercy from National Intelligence and Research University College, an alumni with a background in computer science. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Francis Giro, a senior ICT officer here at the Meru University of Science and Technology. Thank you.
Good morning. Wanjala Austin is my name, student Kenya Methodist University, taking computer science.
Thank you very much for the introductions, and I'd like to welcome you all to the theme of today, of this session, which is the mid-morning session, and we are going to be discussing promoting inclusivity and accessibility in technology. I'd like to welcome the virtual viewers too to be engaging together with us through the YouTube comments and also the Engage platform, slido.com, as it's been written there. So promoting inclusivity and accessibility in technology, it's quite an important thing to look at because we need to have people from different backgrounds, abilities, and perspectives in our institutions that are there practicing responsible computing. So it's going to be a lively discussion. Make sure you engage. Tell us how you feel included in your schools, in the polls. Tell us how you feel that you are assessing technology in your schools and also in the various institutions that you work in. So join us, and we are going to start.
Okay, thank you, Zawadi. Just to start off, we'll start with Mr. David Kaje. In your department, how do you ensure that your computing courses are designed to be inclusive for students with diverse backgrounds and abilities? Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Yeah, so in Kenya Methodist University, we always prioritize on inclusivity. And when I talk about inclusivity, it means that process of creating our digital tools in a way that is very easy for all students, irrespective of their backgrounds or disabilities, such that it's very easy for them to access the digital tools. The first thing I'd say we are doing quite well is working with blended learning. And blended learning, for blended learning is whereby we have physical classes and then we have online classes as well. So for blended learning, we usually practice both asynchronous and synchronous learning. Asynchronous meaning in real time, and asynchronous in real time, and asynchronous not in real time, and synchronous in real time. Yeah, so our digital campus platform, we own the LMS, enables us to be able to create our digital tools and arrange them in modular format such that it's very easy for students to be able to achieve. The other thing we do quite well is ensuring that we give support to our language students. The term language students simply means we have students who are learning at KEMU and English is not the first language. Yeah, so for these language students, we have a number of students from Rwanda who speak French, and we usually support them by ensuring that these students are exposed to languages, that is English as a language, is a short course within the university, and we give them support within the department any way that may be beneficial to them. Yes, the other thing, still on the same, is peer tutoring. We have, for example, Innovators Club, and we have for their students mentoring first year students and second year students. And this ensures inclusivity such that students who are from different backgrounds are able to learn at different, depending on their pace, depending on the different paces that they have. Thank you, Mr.
And to you also, Mr. Kelvin Jogu, in your department, how do you ensure that your computing courses are designed to be inclusive for students with diverse backgrounds and abilities?
Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Well, I will start by saying that Chuka has a vision and a motto. You say it's a PMDB star, knowledge as well. And towards achieving this vision, that is one thing that what we have been doing all the time as members of staff and students. We usually look toward this vision so that all of us together, we can come up with a synergy so that we get to this vision together. And in doing the same, we've had some number of ethical standards whereby we go by. Things to do with inclusivity, things to do with privacy, things to do with the diversity, because as a public university, there's a lot of diversity, people from different arenas and visions, of which whenever we come together, so and so brings his energy from this part, this part, this part, together we can build a nation and Kenya could move forward. We also, things to do with the resources. Sometimes we chip in order to come up with something. If they say there's a project that is being undertaken, and you find that there's something that is needed, all of us will be able to chip in order to ensure that this project is propelled towards a common goal. Likewise, we also focus on results. Results are a very important thing in every perspective. So whenever you have something, we focus on results, we come together both as
taken to ensure that computing resources are accessible to students, including the ones that have disabilities.
It's not just at Meru University, inclusivity. Accessibility features, and then we have to think about now the information resources. So in talking about the hardware, we as libraries are tasked with the responsibility of providing hardware that ensures that everybody, including persons with special needs, have access to it. So we have set aside machines specifically for users with special needs. In terms of software, I'll just concentrate on two aspects. That is the website, making sure the website is accessible. Last year we redesigned our library website to make it very easy, not just for people with special needs, but also everybody else. So we made it a little bit easier to access. We are not yet there, but we will be making strides towards making it even more accessible. But for now, as it is, it's really simple. If you go to our website, you'll see that it has just very simple interfaces for accessing the resources. And then when we now come to the information resources, this is where there's a very big challenge, because now we have to make sure that these resources are accessible to persons with special needs. So fortunately, with the strides that are being made, we have these resources that support audio, so you can be able to listen. Even like the ebooks that we provide, you can be able to listen to them. You can be able to translate to multiple languages. My colleague talked about it. And then we can be able to also tap into the inaccessibility caused by the digital divide, whereby we are not able to pay. You see, that's also a level of access. Yeah. So those are the three levels that we work on: the hardware level, the software level, and the information resources access. So those are the steps that we take towards inclusivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now this goes to Francis, student at Tharaka University. From a student perspective, how inclusive and accessible do you find the computing resources, and what improvements could be made? Thank you.
Okay, hello again, everyone. Regarding the theme, the inclusivity and accessibility term, I believe it focuses on, first of all, making sure that everyone, regardless of their ability or differences, are able to access these resources, the softwares and the hardware. And as a student from Tharaka University, I find inclusivity and accessibility generally clear, and the students, okay, there are some challenges that we are also involved, whereby, for example, accessing the labs physically, they may be in a way that the students that are challenged, they are not able to access those labs in a way, so that the function that is placed in a way. And I also think the other challenge is awareness among the faculty staff and the members. I think they have not been able to raise that awareness on how to handle these students who have challenges in a way.
Okay, thank you. And now, on your own perspective now, what improvements could be made now to make sure that there's inclusivity, and also that the resources are also accessible to all students?
Yeah, the improvements that could be made, they include making the resources available, the software resources and also the hardware resources. The software resources include the tools that we use in our projects. For example, we have the servers in a software, the server softwares, where students are, if for example they're not able to access by themselves, they can go to the labs whereby they have been installed in almost all the computers, where they can access them easily and be able to do their projects well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for answering those questions. I'd really like to highlight that in Meru University there is also a project ongoing, CNIT, that has been one of the key factors in dealing with people with disabilities, especially the physical disabilities, and we are really happy about that. So you can check out cnit.co.ke for more information on the same. And my question goes to Mercy, an alumni from Meru. I'd like to know, from your own perspective and with all the things that you've been doing, are there projects or initiatives that you've been doing that promote inclusivity and also accessibility within the technology sector?
Thank you, Faith. My experiences is mostly being the user of the system. I've been a system administrator. I've also been part of a digitization program. So some of the experiences I've been having there in the field as an alumni of NERUC, first of all, is the hiring services, where we ensure that each and every person is represented in terms of developing the technologies. We have PWDs, people available, skills, different knowledges. That is one of the inclusivity we have. We also have accessibility of the products, that is the system. We ensure that the system is available to everyone. Those who are not able to use the system, we ensure probably we have voice recognition. We also ensure that there is a fingerprint system in terms of inclusivity. We also have when it comes to user requirements, in terms of designing the system, we ensure that each and every person is catered for so that they are able to use the system. Also, in terms of research and testing the system, we've been able to include most of the people. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. Now let's go to the ICT personnel, Meru University. Can you share some specific initiatives or projects that you as university ICT department has undertaken to promote inclusivity and accessibility in technology? Thank you.
Thank you. Now, in ICT here at Meru University, we have a network department, and then we have the systems, and we have the hardware. Hardware, generally we say it's the user support. So in the department, we have a slogan that it's not our project, it's a project for the user. So how we approach it is that we start with the user requirements. We do a thorough user requirements corrections. So all our projects that we implement here in the university, that is where we start correcting the user requirements. And then when now we are designing these systems, we ensure that we are not designing our systems. We are designing systems for the users so that we can include everyone. So we design our projects guided by the user requirements that we correct. And then when it comes again to the implementation, we involve the user. When we are doing the implementations of, the implementation of our projects, we involve users at different levels so that we can make sure that everyone is covered. And then when, again, we are doing the testing, again, it is just about the users. We do a lot of testing of our projects, and again, we bring in the user to just confirm that the requirements that we corrected at the first stage, they are met. And then when now it comes to the maintenance, it's all about, again, working with the user, because user requirements keep changing. So when a requirement changes, again, we go back to the user, or the user comes to us, and we have to include the requirement that has changed in the project. Thank you so much.
Just to ask a question to you, are there any project that are in existence that really supports the inclusivity, that ensure that there's inclusivity of all people, like let's say people with disabilities, and you see we're not able the same. So are there any project that ICT can say we have this in place that that makes sure that everyone is included?
Thank you. Yes, we have projects that we've implemented. So I reference our librarian, like when it comes to our websites, we have done websites that are accessible to all the users. We take care of the users with disabilities. Again, we try as much as possible to have the best practices. So the best practices is that in this project, we consider the international standards that have been set so that we can make sure that everybody is covered for.
Thank you very much for those insights. For the virtual viewers, sorry for the technical itch. So for the virtual viewers, you can engage with us. Tell us what are some of these initiatives or projects that have been done in your schools that enable inclusivity in your school. My question goes to Kelvin and David. in your department, what are the strategies and practices that you have found effective in promoting accessibility and inclusivity in computing?
Okay, thank you, Zawadi. Yeah, so in our department, we have different strategies that aim at building inclusivity and diversity within the department. First of all, we usually have an employee training thrice in a year. That's once every trimester. And in these meetings, we're usually discussing what are the strategies that we need to come up with. Number one, we have very flexible learning options. Yeah, so we have different modes of learning. We have flexible learning options, such that we have in mind those maybe who are working, someone who maybe has a family, and we have these different learning options that are there. Yes, and that's why within our LMS, we usually ensure that everything is very well arranged as per the training. And we usually ensure that we have short videos on the same, maybe we have audio, we have brief notes, we have quizzes, so that the learning becomes very flexible for these students. We also have extremely flexible deadlines for assignments, especially for our DLM students, since we have that in mind, that these people do not have in full-time, they are not here full-time, so we have very flexible deadlines for them. Now, one thing, when it comes to diversity, one thing that I've really found interesting is we have a category of assistive softwares known as SRS. SRS stands for Student Response Systems, and we have quite a number of these such systems. One of my personal favorite that I like to use in class is an SRS known as Kahoot. And Kahoot enables students to be able to play a game in class. Now, when I say a game, based on what I've taught for that class, I usually ensure that students register using their mobile devices, and then they play this simple game where they get to answer questions. They get to answer questions based on what they have learned. So the rules of the game is the faster you answer, the more points you get. And at the end of it all, we get to see who is number one, who is number two, who's number three. Now, this strategy helps so much because now after class, I get to see which student performed poorly, and it shows that that student maybe needs some more time or some more explanation on the same. So at the end of it all, we have fun, and I also get feedback regarding on what has been taught. The final thing that I'll talk about is we have features and our LMS, and every time our learning management system is adding new features. Yeah, so recently we added, we had a training where Read Speaker was added, and Read Speaker is this software that enables students who are visually impaired to listen to the notes. So they just click on the software and they're able to use the notes, among the other features that we have. And I believe maybe I'll get a chance to talk more about the other features that we have that help to build our strategies. Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity also to discuss about diversity in Chuka University. Well, I would like to bring a scenario. There's a time in computing in the first year whereby, I don't know, something could have happened maybe, and a student who was visually impaired was admitted in computer science. So we were like, oh gosh, what will we do? We don't know this Braille thing. And we were like, everybody was stuck. And we didn't know what to do now. So we had to involve the School of Education, and involving School of Education, they had to assist us. So each and every time the student was there, for the time that he was there before we organized other measures to join an institution of like-minded, so we could, the student had a guide from School of Education. So he was assisting, whenever we do, he was assisting. There's also another issue, like in this environment, it would be very unapologetic for someone who is using wheelchair in this environment, I don't know, but it also happened. There was a situation whereby a timetable was done, and one of my classes was in third floor, and there was a student who was doing wheelchairs, and he could not reach there. So you'll find that in such scenarios, I had to stop. I could not go on with classes for around 3 weeks, because how could we go on and this student is disadvantaged? Nobody would push him. So we had to organize, and quickly we had to do the timetable such that all the classes were done in ground floor, and there was someone to assist. So due to this diversity, whenever you find the student, you could assist. If I'm a lecturer, I could assist. I would ask him, which class are you going to? I would push him to the next class. The students were also jovial with him. They could push him to the next class. And so what was I bringing on board? I was trying to bring this scenario that diversity comes from various platforms. It could be diversity in terms of what do we have, what don't we have, how do we share it, and how can we share it equitably so that everybody could get something. There's no issue of one person getting everything. So I'll also like to bring on board that there are some softwares that we have which we've brought on board, things to do with LMS. I'll also iterate LMS, but in this LMS, you would find that those students who could not make it to campus can be doing it from a distance, as well as also these things to do with online examination. Sometimes I'm offering a cut and you are not there. So we could allow you to sit on an exam somewhere and then send me to me online, especially for simple exams like cuts, projects and discussions, but not the main examinations, because main examination there's some issues to do with the things to do with the issues to do with authenticity and all that we could not regard whenever they are far. So that is how we've always been bringing diversity. There was also a situation whereby a student was admitted who was not English speaking. So the exchange programs that are there, yeah, someone came from a Francophone country, and then it fosters whenever we teach in English, someone could even give interpretation in the Francophone language, so that at least we could be diversity. So we've always, in one way or the other, brought diversity together with us on the move. But more important, we usually do things to do with the group works. We usually also do things to do with the role playing. Sometimes you role play and find out what is the way out, as much as also teamwork and all that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To Madam Ruth Kibagendi, how can the library support faculty and students in accessing inclusive and accessible technology-related resources?
Thank you so much, Bwana Wanjala. Yeah, when it comes to supporting faculty and students in this inclusivity and accessibility agenda, our role is again multifold and based on what I previously mentioned for digital inclusivity. That is issues surrounding hardware, issues surrounding software, and issues surrounding the resources themselves. By the resources, I mean the information resources, e-books, e-data, e-journals, audiovisual resources, etc. So when it comes to hardware and software, the library supports faculty and students by training. For example, the native Windows, just the native Windows, Windows 10, has a lot of accessibility features, from magnifiers to tools that assist someone who has dexterity issues, that they can be able to type. Like now, if you have to type Control-Alt-Delete and you have only one hand, I don't know. Yeah, so the inbuilt features of Windows are a lot. If you just go to ease of access from Windows, there are a lot of features there that Windows already has that are inbuilt for supporting, from text to speech, etc., etc. So as librarians, we are at a very good space to be able to assist users in training and awareness, so that they can be able to use already existing resources that they have. so that they can be able to access what is available. So training is a very important part of that agenda. Now the second part is on awareness and awareness issues. So as librarians, we have a role to ensure that our users know and the resources that are available. So in this issue, what we have done as a library, we have curated the resources based on the anticipated information needs. Again, if you go to our website and you go to course materials, we are on a very ambitious project of curating resources per unit. So if you're doing something like introduction to programming by Java, so if you go there, you'll just see all the resources that we have. Books, e-books, audio-visual resources, very important part for the multilingual, for the diversity and inclusivity agenda. So it's not a one-day project, but it's an ongoing project where all units are going to be curated based on the anticipated information needs, and these resources are multilingual in nature. And thirdly, we do it at a level beyond our university, whereby all libraries in Kenya, we have a consortium called CLIS, Kenya Library Information Services Consortium. That consortium, as part of its working committees, we have a committee that specifically deals with issues of inclusivity and access. So when we are negotiating for access to e-resources, because normally we negotiate, what we have access to in Meru University is the same as what Taraka has and Chuka, especially e-resources. So we negotiate for resources that are inclusive. So as part of our negotiation agenda at a national level, we have inclusivity and accessibility in mind. Yeah, then at the down to the ground level, we have, like in our library, we have good reprographic services. So for persons who are visually impaired, low vision, we are able to enlarge the print. Maybe we've been given notes and you need them larger. So those are some of the services that we offer to our students and our users generally for this agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ruth Gibendi. And my question is directed to Francis from Tharaka University. You've mentioned some of the challenges and successes you feel are there in your school that encourage inclusivity and accessibility. I would like you to mention some of these specific challenges and also successes, and also tell us some of the initiatives and organizations that are student-led in your organization that encourage accessibility and inclusivity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Touching on the successes that I have had, I'll basically focus on the e-learning portal that we have in our school. At Tharaka University, there is a way that, for example, if you're accessing an online class, they don't only provide you with the notes, but there is a way that we have clips that the lecturers had recorded themselves. It's a short video, maybe 15 to 20 minutes of a class. And if, for example, you have been away out of school, maybe for various reasons, you don't feel left out. You can be able to access these classes and the notes and be able to ride along with the others. That is my success in personal. A challenge, I can talk about, emphasize on what Ruth was talking about, whereby we have students with disabilities. They are not able to, for example, if we have a programming class, whereby they have to type the code as the lecture is going on. There was a student in our school who had who could only write with one hand, and in that class she had a lot of challenge in typing that code during the class. We had come in various ways to handle that, but I think due to unawareness of the unawareness in the faculty department, there have not been measures put to be able to assist this student because it was the first time. But I think now there are ways these students are assisted, whereby they can type using the text-to-speech technology. Yeah, I think that was a challenge.
Thank you. You can tell us some of the organizations and initiatives in your school that encourage inclusivity and accessibility that are student-led.
The student-led initiatives in our school, we have the clubs, the innovation clubs, whereby their main purpose is not only to leverage on technology advancements, but to be able to incorporate these differences among the students, whereby they advocate for the awareness, and whereby they attend workshops. We have workshops and online tutoring. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Francis. To Madam Mercy, being an alumni of NIRUK, what role can the university play in fostering a more inclusive and accessible environment for students pursuing technology? And also, in your own opinion, how can universities and educational institutions collaborate with industry leaders to create a more inclusive and accessible pipeline for students pursuing careers in technology?
Thank you, today's moderator, for those two questions here. The first question is that this forum, first of all, is part of the role of the university. If you can look around, we have different cultures, different genders, different ages. So that is part of the inclusivity and role of the university. Secondly, we have curriculum reviews. The computing field is very dynamic, it's very volatile. So the role of the universities is to ensure that they review their curriculum each and every time. We have the emerging technologies, we have the interruptive technologies that are there at the moment. So you ensure that you review most of the curriculum or the course content. We also have support services, as my predecessors have said. We usually have PWD, so you ensure that you support the students that you have enrolled in your university. We also have diverse and role models, that is in terms of the lecturers. You ensure that you have those who are able to lead by example to the students. And then we also have training and awareness. My predecessors have said that they have challenges in the institutions. So you ensure that you train your people, you ensure that you train your staff, you train your students to ensure that there is inclusivity. There's also collaborative projects. Most of the designs that we come up with, you are not the users, we have different users. So you ensure those projects are very collaborative, you take into account most of the user requirements. And then we also have the extracurriculum activities. You ensure that it's very accommodative and it is very inclusive to each and every person. So the next question was in terms of industries and the role of the universities, right? Oh yeah, the first is mentorship programs. You ensure these are the exchange programs between the students and the institutions. Secondly is the internship. You ensure that you have an MOU with most of the institutions so that when your students are supposed to go to the internship and attachment, they're attached to those institutions. We have advisories, because the students are the ones who are developing the system, so you ensure that you engage with most of the industries or the institutions to know what they need so that you incorporate in most of your curriculums. And then you also have research collaboration with most of the institutions because they can sponsor most of the students when it comes to developing the projects. And then we also have maybe lectures and workshops between, because you can have an invite of maybe a guest from Ministry of ICT to come and talk to the students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mercy, for the answer. My question goes to Mr. Njeru. From a technical standpoint, what are some of these challenges that you have encountered in trying to have inclusivity and accessibility for the systems in technology? And also tell us what is the advice you give to any institution that is trying to enhance inclusivity and accessibility in their systems, infrastructure, and also services. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the main challenges that we always encounter, and I know this is happening in many institutions, especially the public institutions, is the issue of finances. Now, when you look at finances affects almost everything in technology, because we need personnel to run these systems. So when you do not have enough finances, then it means that you are likely not to get the very right personnel to implement these technologies. And again, software is not cheap, hardware is not cheap. So connecting finances and the technology changes, you'll find that the technology is changing at a very high speed. So you are buying something today, by the time you are doing the implementation, something else has come. So what does that mean? It means that now you have again to go back and ask for more resources in terms of now finances to buy whatever is in the market. So what happens when you go now to ask for these finances? In most cases, you'll find that they are not there. So you can see change in technology, finances, personnel. Then the user requirements, of course, can be related to change in technology, because it's a it's a major challenge, because you are doing a project. Let me give a scenario whereby you are implementing a module of a system, and then by the time you are done with the module, implementing the requirements that the user gave you, now the user comes back again to you and tells you that whatever you gave us is not working. What's the reason? The user requirements have changed. So now you have to go back again and start adjusting the changes. So I can say somehow that is a challenge as well. Then another major challenge, of course, I don't know whether this happens in other institutions, but I have seen it. Some things we used to run in school, but when now we come to the ground to do the real work, that's when now you start realizing, kumbe, what I learned in school is happening on the ground. The issue of user resistance. You come up with a system or a project, ICT project, and then when you try to give it to the user, you find that the user is not everyone is willing to leave the old way of doing things. So that is a main challenge. I think those are the challenges that I can mention. And of course, I know there are others, but those are the main ones. Thank you.
Still on you, Mr. Njeru, would you tell us what is the advice you have to organizations and institutions that want to enhance accessibility and inclusivity in their technologies?
Thank you. One, I will start by saying that it's important to collaborate, because the more we share this knowledge, the more we become better. There is a common saying that says, maybe if I can interpret it from my mother tongue, that the person that does not move most says that his mother is the best cook. So collaborations like what we are doing here is very important. Then, of course, is the best practices. Let's adopt the best practices, and then we lead by example. Because we are universities, I believe most of us here we are universities, and we teach these things. So if you are teaching these things, then the expectation is that we should be practicing. We should read from the front line. We shouldn't be like soldiers. We should not be captains and train from the back. We should train from the front line. I think that is important if we do it that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Mr. David and Mr. Kelvin. How do you incorporate accessibility considerations into your teaching methods to accommodate students with varying learning needs? And also, what are the specific tools or resources that you will recommend to faculty for creating a more inclusive learning experiences back into your schools? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Austin. Yeah, so for the first question on how I incorporate accessible consideration into my teaching methods, I think the most basic of all is ensuring that I provide multiple modalities for my content delivery. Yeah, so anytime ensuring that I have multiple modalities for my content development. Anytime you're delivering your content, either
Get the links so that they can be able to develop their own mini classes and discuss and bring this diversity on board. I would also like to retaliate that quite a number of times we have the culture week, things like that, so that we could bring them on board. So quite a number of students could come on board and get this diversity together. As well as also a situation whereby whenever first years come on board, we could link them to their various, maybe computers organizations, computer societies, and all that, and we get a fourth year to mentor them in doing the same. But there's something that we also noted on the same. Sometimes there's a cut, maybe a cut is happening, and unethical. A student will always try to be unethical in one way or the other. Ameweka simu pale mbele, yuhisi, unaona ameweka simu pale mbele vizuri, and unaona huyu mtu ni msamaria mzuri sana. Kumbe hiyo simu ni wifi. Guys are wifi, unasikia umeni hotspot. Guys are in exam, not exam, but this to cut, the challenges, kumbe guys wameji hotspot there. So some of these unethical have to happen. But as long as sometimes we say that kufa mkanga, kufa dereva, sometimes in the normal language, you check on it, what are the cost benefit analysis of this? Yeah, sometimes you say, okay, wacha weke ka wifi kidogo, wafanye but not exam, wafanye hii mambo yao ya sharing notes, sharing what, because sometimes giving them hard copies the way I was given in university is very tedious for them. So sometimes they like even role playing. You would find someone who would even be able to talk the way I'm talking, and then they will discuss some things at that time. So we say that, okay, fine, let them do their own way, because Generation Z sometimes have got their own way of doing things. You come, instead of writing with the blackboard, and I this ukae tu nyumbani, dictate tukiwa tu nyumbani, we are comfortable at our homes. And then you're like, okay, fine, let's find a way out. Let's find a win-win situation. So sometimes we embrace them in that order, so that at least we can together have the common goal, and together students can participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been an amazing discussion. Due to time, we're going to have last comments from each of us. You will tell us how you feel this topic is going to be impactful. Also, you tell us, you can advise us on how we can enhance inclusivity, knowing that inclusivity is a diverse topic. We have gender-based inclusivity, we also have the disability and other types of inclusivity. So you can tell us how we can enhance it in our various institutions. Thank you. We can start with Mr. David.
Thank you so much, Zawadi. Yeah, so my parting shot for us when it comes to inclusivity and diversity is number one, when it comes to the instructors within the class, they have to ensure that number one, the environment is very conducive, the environment is very friendly to allow students to be able to express themselves adequately. I'm sure sometimes in some classes, some students are afraid maybe to air their concerns or air their views. So that's up to us now, to the instructors, to ensure that the environment is very conducive to allow our students to be able to express themselves. Yeah, so from here now, I intend to do more research on this field when it comes to inclusivity. And I also intend to incorporate this within my course content, where I'll give some assignments in future regarding inclusivity, regarding ethics, and all these other different things that we've done. Finally, I also intend to conduct research based on inclusivity and ethics and everything we've been able to learn today, and I expect to distribute the findings as open source without any restrictions of access. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Regarding this issue of inclusivity, first I would like to start by, we could go back to ground zero. You move to quite a number of our institutions. There's this common say that you'll see that this is a no corruption zone. Yeah, so we start from there. Signboards. So let's start from things to do with signboards, at least to bring inclusivity, where we can do it in different languages and maybe in different phenomena. And we can also do, like, there's sometimes I passed some point, and you see some graffiti. You find students doing graffiti, and you could see that it brings about diversity. They could show things like signboards. You could find things like a student could bring other methods of learning to bring them on board. You'll find sometimes, I can remember there's a time that the sun was so scorching, and in the afternoon classes, quite a number of guys were shaking their head, nodding as they are teaching with appreciation. So sometimes they could even tell us, okay, why don't we have break? Why don't we have practicals in the afternoon? So you try and blend some of these things such that in the afternoon we could have practicals. During the morning session, we could have some mathematics and all that. Like in programming, I was doing something on programming, and quite a number of them were like, why don't we do it in the morning session, and then in the afternoon session we go to the lab. So things are things that we can use them to do inclusivity, especially when you don't want a situation whereby the user of the item gets something that he doesn't want. So sometimes we include them. We ask them, how would you like the timetable to look at? So they will give us suggestion that we'd like that in the morning session, this happens, in the afternoon, this happens. We'd like to have session for this like a number of hours, as long as we reach the required maximum hours. I would also like to bring on board things to do with the role playing and group discussion, and also involving the students. There was this scenario that we had some football team in the faculty, and we brought all of them on board. And then during this time of playing football, chess, and all that, a student just opened up. Kasema unajua mimi naangukanga simply because the way una setting exam, they were now open. And then from there tunaanza kusema, okay, tunaiset aje, na nyinyi mnaitaka aje, si tunaitaka hivi na hivi na hivi. So we could bring these things on board also. Things also to the way that sometimes a student would like that things are done this way, and then they like it. So we bring them on board, and then we blend them so that we bring all this diversity and all of us to appreciate at one thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My take home is from Kevin. Kufa dereva. Kufa dereva, kufa makanga, or as in, yeah, or as we say in Meru, kaende. So now my take home is now, I think it's really time for us to kuenda. So this discussion has been very eye-opening to me as in charge of a library, and I think we are able to do more. So I actively intend to put some of the items that we've discussed here on inclusivity and accessibility directly into the library work plan, so that it is done. It's not measured, it's not done. So to this end, I intend to have our website more benchmarked with international standards for accessibility, so that it fully, or at least it improves in conformity to it. I also intend to be more proactive in the open science. Remember, I talked about hardware, software, and the actual resources. So when it comes to the actual resources, the foregoing debate really is on open science, that is beyond open access. So I also intend to actively put the open science debate into my work plan, and possibly aspects of policy, so which I'm very glad, like now as an institution, I know any buildings that are being set up from this moment onwards are inclusive, are accessible, like the ones at Marine, like the library at Marine already has the ramps already inbuilt. Yeah, so those are things that also make me happy. So aspects of policy, aspects of practice, aspects of work plan is what I live with today, so that inclusivity is part of the day-to-day lives. As they say, disability is a club where you never know when you will be enrolled as a member. So it's our role, it's our responsibility to put always in our shoes, to always put ourselves in the shoes of the other person. And I think I'm going to put on those rather big shoes from today. Thank you.
Okay. From this session, I have a takeaway and a recommendation. First of all, to start with the recommendation, I think when you're talking about inclusivity and accessibility, I think we are focusing more on the instructors not being aware of how to be able to cater for this. But I think it also downs to us students, whereby, for example, you have an instructor in class who is taking on a lesson, and we have a student at the back who is not able to see clearly. There's no way that instructor is going to know that that student has a problem. So if the student has to take that initiative and be able to speak out and to address that issue that he or she has, it's going to be easy, and it's going to be an inclusive lecture, I think. And for my takeaway, I think it has been a very good session, and I think I'm going to engage actively with my peers on the topic and my professors, and how we are going to promote this inclusivity and accessibility in our campus, because I think it's a rising issue and it needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That has been a very insightful session. I've learned a lot from the panelists and each and everyone that is here today. To our online viewers and everyone that is here, the students, faculty, and everyone, what I can say is that to promote inclusivity and accessibility of our systems, from the start, from the planning, from the user requirements, implementation to feedback iteration, we need to ensure that there is inclusivity in each and every stage. To our students who are here today, educate yourself. Never stop educating yourself, because the computing field changes each and every day. What you know today, tomorrow will be very redundant. So ensure that each and every day you learn something new in the computing field. Also ensure that you lead by example. Each and everything that you do in terms of developing the system, the ICT policy, maybe reviews, ensure that there is inclusivity in each and everything that you do. Also, to our faculty, there is collaborative projects. Ensure that that is in each and every institution. Finally, my take home is I'll be an advocate of inclusivity, because already I am a user and a consumer of the system. So each and everything that I'll be doing, I'll be promoting inclusivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, from the technical point of view, what I've learned from this forum is that it's very important, because we are able differently, and we should thank God when we find ourselves, we have hands, we have eyes. These are not things that we should take for granted. Therefore, because of this, I'm going to really research on systems that can bring inclusivity. As a department, we've really tried on that, because we do not reinvent the wheel. We implement systems that we build on a foundation, but then from here, I think we are going to make it better. And after getting these solutions, maybe what I would advise us is that let us share, let us collaborate. If you have something that is working better than what I have, you can share that knowledge with me. If I have something that is working better than yours, then you can share that with me. And information is power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our panelists, for today, for that nice presentation. At this juncture, I wish to welcome Maxwell for the next thing.
Thank you so much, our panelists, for driving this session so well. Now, from our online audiences, the remarks are amazing. Everybody who is watching us live and those who are watching us away from this premise. By the way, this premise where you are is called the theater.
or rather you can just say the theaters. So the theaters are situated in between two engineering complexes. There's the engineering complex A on that end, and then on the other end, that is the engineering complex B. So from our online audience, I would like to recognize one of our best friends from India. This is what he says to you. He has dedicated something nice to this, and he says, I dedicate this to you. The responsible computing challenge is amazing. And he goes on to say, in a world where tech embraces is vast and wide, the responsible computing challenge, our guiding light and pride. It teaches us to code, create with care at every stage, ensuring our digital footprints is wise from edge to edge. With every line of code, a pledge to do what's right, to innovate for good and keep the future bright. This challenge, more than a contest, a beacon in the light, guiding us to our skills for the world's delight. The responsible computing challenge is amazing. Isn't it amazing? Are you following up well? So that has been the first session, and right away we move into the open discussion to all our online viewers on splitter.com and through our YouTube channel, Meru University. Keep channeling all those questions that will be responded in this session. So let's keep moving, and I hope after this session, everybody will have benefited.
Thank you very much, Maxwell, for that comment. And also appreciate our viewer from India and all the viewers from everywhere. I'd like to welcome you all to the open session. Feel free to ask questions. You can also comment. Say a joke for the people when you say dad jokes. So I'd like to welcome you all. Yeah, let's make it a nice session. Thank you.
Thank you for this. The session was nice, but we've been talking about inclusivity and diversity, but we have went along and forgotten on a certain group of people. That how will we include such kind of people in responsible computing? I will pose this question to the whole panel in front of me. So how are we going to include the young and the old? Yes, we have talked about the disabilities, people are disabled, yes, but we have forgotten the young generation that is coming. You know, Kevin said one thing, that for you to do these things right, we have to start from the bottom. But we have forgotten these people who are coming up. How will they be responsible if we not begin with them? Then we have the old people who, by this particular time, they have passed by. How can we also bring them back so that they may learn these things?
Allow me to start with a simple illustration. There was this time that I was in the public service before coming into the university. So there was this system that was being brought, login system and those management system. So the login system, the young guys didn't find anything about it, so they could come and log in very fast. So there's a day I was there, I was about to log in, and an old and senior citizen alikuwa amepaka mafuta kwa mkono, so anajaribu kulog, ni kama instead ya kulog anapaka hiyo logging mafuta. So anaipaka mafuta. So yeah, the story went, and at some point he was like, this thing every day doesn't recognize me. These people want to take me home. You know, everybody was like, what is going on? And then he created an attention, so we were there. What is going on, mzee? So akatuambia, hii kitu yenyu hainitaki kila siku, mumenifukuza. So he told him, no, this thing, sometimes you do this, you dry the hand, and we do this. So what I was trying to bring on board is this sensitivity. Sometimes we do systems and we assume, the assumption is that everybody can do it. Like now, I don't know, sometimes I wonder, you send my grandma money, utaona ataenda kuitoa. but unampatia kitu ingine unashangaa hawezi jua computer, but send her money in M-Pesa, the following day your pesa imetolewa. How do they do it? How do they do it? I think, I don't know, but there's this sense of also, we have to incorporate all of them so that we all blend together at some common point, whereby with the young, sometimes my child takes on my phone and very quickly she can open some few apps and go on with them. But my old grandma sometimes has difficulty in opening this phone. So we need to come up with a way whereby we bring the old to some common standard, and we also bring the young to some common standard. This one can be done using things like maybe softwares, things like enlightenment, things like guiding them, things like e-citizen. At least we can bring them. And whenever we are doing softwares for the old, we increase maybe the fontage, but the young, we could do things like that and find a way out, and also sensitize them through the community, sensitize them through the people around and all that. I also saw a situation sometimes in Barclays whenever they brought this touch screen instead of the initial button. So nimekaa kwa line, mzee amekaa ndani, tumekaa, tukaingia tunamuuliza mzee ni nini mbaya? Wezi wameiba kila kitu hapa ya kufinya, sasa wamewacha tu kioo. Tukamwambia hapana mzee, hii kitu unabonyeza kioo. Sasa nataka hiyo bonyeza ni nini? Ni kufinya kioo. You know, sometimes you have to guide them in the way that they understand, in the language that they understand, and blend with them. So if we can get away, there is a way you can talk with your grandma to understand. There is a way I can talk with my dad and all that to understand. So let's embrace this way and come up with a common way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, for the insights. I'm going to take 5 questions from the audience, and we are going to note them down, and we'll answer them cumulatively with the panelists. Together with that, you can also receive questions through slido.com from the virtual viewers or any other person in this discussion. Sawa sawa. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Vincent from Meru. My question will go to the faculty. You know, when you began this discussion, you talked about delivery of your lectures to the which actually was very insightful because it covered all the modules. I heard of modules, clips, and all that. But actually, what I was expecting is, what are some of the ways you've put in place that now touches on those groups you have discussed? Top down, it's making a lot of sense, but what about down up? How are you empowering these diverse groups to achieve the or promoting inclusivity and accessibility in actually utilizing computing technology? My second part will be also on teaching. What metrics have you put in place when it comes to assessment? Because you see, most of the assessments only cover one line of one big category, the able body. So what systems have you put in place to make sure that you are also assessing these other groups vis-a-vis maintaining the threshold of education standards in your institution? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mine is not a question really, it's a comment, an addition to, I think, what the ICT officer, Mr. Njeru, was commenting on one of the challenges he was experiencing when implementing a system. So one of the things I've noted is that most of us are used to the traditional approach to system development, the SDLCP circle, the traditional approach, where we only include the users at the initial step of system development, which is user requirement. But I've found out that one of the frameworks that really help inclusivity to be conceptualized in all the process of system development is the design thinking framework. This is a user-centric approach whereby at every step of your design, from the initial user development, you are involving your users. When you're coming to now defining the actual problem, you again go back to involve your users. When you've come up with a solution, you again go back and consult your users. Then you develop a prototype. Then you take it to them. If it works well, you now develop the whole system. If you do that, you'll find that the chances of users having that resistance to change at the end of it all will be very minimal because you've included them in the whole circle of the system development. So that was my addition.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Ebenezer. My question goes to the faculty. You have talked about much on creating a conducive environment to people with disabilities. But what are the things you do to tag them along, such as webinars or in terms of projects and modules? How do you tag along the people with disabilities? An example is this topic now, responsible computing. How have we tagged along people with disabilities so that they can also be ambassadors? Yeah, thank you.
We can have questions from this side.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm lucky I was here in the morning when we were discussing about ethic, and now we are discussing about inclusivity and accessibility to the technology. So my question is, how do we promote the inclusivity without leaving behind the ethnic? Because I can remember when one of the panelists was speaking, he said that umechukua simu kwa mtu, exam watu wakifanya katukeka mahali imekaa hotspot, kila mtu ako spotted ndani, and then the same thing as most of the panelists were saying that most of their how they are blending their work like the cuts. And remember, as you said before, most of the students are unethic. So to me, 99% of them, when you put for them the work online, they can tell somebody to do for them, or they can give away, or they can decide to use the AI to do out the cut. So how will you know that? How do you know the reflection of this child or this student when you're following up through the studies? Because the cut marks should project what somebody is going to get throughout the exams. So during the cut mark, somebody is already gets 29/30. How will you tell that this person is likely enough is getting what I'm saying? Or because we are trying to be inclusive, at the same time, we are looking out the ethnic part of it now.
Okay, thank you. I'm Daisy Chelangat from Meru. I have a question. As far as inclusive and accessibility is concerned, there are people outside there who don't know maybe English or the language. For example, maybe there is a grandma or any grandparents who don't know how to speak in English or to read English, and there maybe akona simu ametumia a very important message. So how then can he or she understand the message? Thank you.
Good afternoon once more. I'm Deus Kama. My question to the faculty, I want to know how often do you people revise your curriculum to ensure that people you produce, the products, I mean the students, are competent as required by the companies that they are going to be employed by after the graduation? And during the revision of the curriculum, what are the kind of people you involved? Which people take part in the curriculum revision? Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to have one question from the far end, and then the panelists will answer.
So my question goes to Madam Mercy. So in the matters inclusivity and diversity, in the effort of promoting gender diversity in tech industries, you find some organizations tend to implement preferential treatment towards women, that is maybe in quotas. So do you think such measures perpetuate in the discrimination of men in the tech industry? And if so, how do we navigate through the imbalance?
Thank you very much. We're going to have the panelists answer the questions. They have already decided how they'll answer them. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the questions, for your insightful questions. So I'll start with my friend from Niruk. And the first question is, how do we empower the diverse student? How do we empower them to ensure inclusivity? Now, for this, I'll keep my answer brief, but I want to explain one of the things that we do. Now, we have this club known as Innovators Club, and when it comes to Innovators Club, we have around 10 leaders currently. One of the leaders that we have is sitting right over there, that's Bera, and Bera is our sign language interpreter. And I'm just giving you an example of one of the things that we do. So Bera is the group's sign language interpreter, meaning that anytime we are dealing with students who are not able to express themselves via words, anytime we are volunteering for something and we have a community or maybe a school that is not able to express themselves via words, we have Bera over there. And maybe you may be wondering why we do not have a sign language interpreter for this event, but Bera will work on that. Yeah, so one of the things that we do really to empower students is, number one, by empowering them or by training them to give back to the community. I know one of the groups, one of the Innovators Club groups currently is working for a system for the school for the mentally challenged at Nyakaga. We have that school for the mentally challenged. So they go to visit them and understand the problems that they have. And one of the problems that they got is they realize that the students there in the mentally challenged school, they are very talented when it comes to creating these bracelets or to creating these ornaments. So they're in the process of creating a website for them for free, such that now they'll be able to increase their sales and also to work on their talent. So on this, we always ensure students to give back to the community, and we try to show students, regardless of something, it's not the end of everything. Now, keeping it brief to the next part. Yes, and I'd like to agree with my other friend from Niruk. Yeah, it's always good to involve the users. It's always good to involve the users. Anytime you're developing a system for any users, for example, if it's the student, you have to involve the users and ensure what they'd like. Now, for the assessment metrics, a question has been asked regarding the assessment metrics that are there to ensure that the students maybe who are disadvantaged, for lack of a better word, are able also to take the assessments that are given. Yes, mostly the assessment sometimes may be online or physical, but we have students who are visually impaired. We have some students who are visually impaired. I know a number of the students. And how sometimes they take the assessment is a lecturer may set, for example, an essay, and then you use a translator, a text-to-speech converter, and then they listen. And then after they listen, they'll be able to speak out and give their answers in that. So for that, we always ensure there is inclusivity for all and everyone gets the same services in a very equal manner without leaving anybody out. Thank you so much.
I will also want to reiterate on some of the questions that have been asked. I'll just give them some blanket answering, of which we may not be very specific on each, but whenever the questions has not been said, we can reiterate it once again. Well, about the language, one of participants asked about the language where grandmother cannot hear the language. Nowadays, being in computer science, there is a very strong research going on in natural language processing. Like you'll see the Bible is being translated, I think in the latest, it's in one of the smallest community, have their Bible in their language. So all of that is there. You can also do it in Google. Google sometimes when you don't know quite a bit of another language, it gives you just type and it pronounces the language. So whenever that data has been sent, you just link it to Google Direct and then you give it whichever the language, it will just speak in that language. That can take the order of the day on that same. There is another question that was asked about revising the curriculum and do we include diversity. It's a requirement that whenever we do things to do with curriculum, it should be in 5 years or 6 years, depending on whichever the institution. But the requirement is that everybody should be on board. What do I mean by everybody? I mean the professors, I mean the faculties. You have to call also friend universities, student representatives have to be there, and professionals from the industry. So each one will have to give his input. So that is the process that we usually go in. So you'll find some organization are inclined towards some industry. So that industry will give their input on what they want the student to be given out. Then the lastly, I'll also take about still on examination from Nuruk. It's a gray area, yes, we have to accept it's a gray area, because whenever cards are being administered online, there are issues whereby you'll find a student decides and put a portrait. So we unadhani un student anafanya exam, kumbe inafanywa na community of persons. And then this community of persons, whenever they do these exams, sometimes the ethics could be a challenge. So whatever we do, sometimes we do on a single login, such that you can't log in into systems. So you have to log in specific item, and then whenever you log in, immediately you log in, we take the MAC address of that system, so that you try logging it on another system, it will notify that this student is logging on a different system from the system of which he was allowed. So that is the first measure. Then the second measure, we usually do time-based, such that exam should only be within 20 minutes or so, so that after 20 minutes it logs you out. We also do question-based, time-based, such that question 1, they only give you 3 minutes. If it's done, it goes to the next question, the next question, the next question. But the big question now comes in, what of this student who can't type faster? How do you go about with him? Does he need to dictate or what? So let's say that it's still a gray area, which a number of research is still to be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can have Madam Ruth answer the question on gender inclusivity that was asked by John, and then we'll go to the online polls that are going to be answered by the rest of the panelists that haven't engaged. Thank you.
Thank you. The question was in trying to be inclusive to women, we are being discriminative to men. That is what I got, yeah? I don't know what your take would be also in that, in normal life, because there's a thin line between affirmative action and discriminatory action. And generally, I think affirmative action is affirmative action, and then a discriminatory act is a discriminatory act. From personal experience at a managerial level, we always, like let's say in hiring, let me give a personal example of me hiring, because I've been involved in that in the past. And women tend to be really good in communication compared to men. And therefore, in interview situations, if people have to present themselves, sometimes you find that women have a competitive advantage. So my personal approach in hiring is usually twofold. Number one, you have to be able to do the task. So I've always had a two-stage interview where you have to come and do the practicals and then do the theory. For example, there's a situation where I had to hire a systems librarian, and I introduced the two-stage. Actually, if we hadn't done the two-stage, if we had only just done the verbal interview that just tests communication and your educational background, etc., the end result will have been a very big disappointment, because it happened that the best person in the oral interview actually walked out of the practical. They did not even attempt it, because the practical was practical. It was installing library systems, open source systems, and doing some technical tasks which the person was totally ill-suited to do. So for me, affirmative action is affirmative action. A discriminatory act is a discriminatory act. And the task at hand comes first. What has to be done has to be done. As our Meru governor says, kaende, kaende. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are going to have Mercy answer the same question. It's usually nice when I hear women talking about men, because men are saying they have been discriminated. So we'd rather have the women address their kids. Sindio? Yes. Mother and son. Thank you.
Thank you. The question from one of our participants was on gender diversity, that when it comes to employment, particularly technology and computing field, we have very few ladies. I think the problem starts from, it is bottom up. When it comes to enrollment of our students in most of the universities, you can already see that there are few ladies. So to curb, the question was, how can we curb the imbalance in the computing field? So I think we can start from nurturing our ladies, our girls, our women down there to probably accept that technology is there. They should enroll in the technology field. They should probably take those certification courses, degree programs, up to masters. And then also when it comes to the employment sector, because you already have few ladies who are graduate from the computing field, so we are biased to having more men in the employment sector. So we can curb that by maybe implementing the 2/3 rule. In every employment, we ensure that we have ladies represented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. Now I'll go online for the questions. One of the questions I'll direct it to the ICT personnel. How can we ensure equitable access to e-learning resources and opportunities for learners with limited internet connectivity? And again, on the same, what policies and guidelines should be implemented to ensure e-learning platforms comply with accessibility standards and regulations? Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps I can start with the policies and the guidelines. Now, you'll notice that there are standards that are available nowadays, and they have been shared widely online. So I believe that every time that we are implementing these systems, not only e-learning systems, but also other systems, then we should adhere to the standards that are shared in various platforms. Some of these standards include interoperability standards, the accessibility standards, the telecommunication standards. So when we are coming up with or when we are implementing the platforms, let's consider that. And it also applies to the policies. When it comes to drawing of the policies, it's also important to consider the policies, also consider what other people are doing. And also, when we are doing these policies, it's important to ask ourselves, are these things that we are putting in these policies doable? Because again, you walk into most of these institutions and you'll find some very good policies, but they are, most of them, actually, they are just on paper. So we consider policies, government policies, and policies from other institutions. When it comes to, the other question was on? So about limited connectivity, that's a tall order because we have to do the right thing. When the connectivity is not there, then I believe you need to provide it. Because if we are talking about accessing content online, you have to provide the right infrastructure. So this infrastructure comes in form of hardware and software. So that must be provided. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to make a comment on the question that John made about why is it that most of the women are being favored in the technical interviews or so. And from my understanding, it's a question of you are a risk taker. Most of the time, if a man tries to look for a job in a catering office, they'll be picked. If there were a lot of women, okay, you can have the bias where we have men cooking sweet food. But if a man takes that risk, it's usually a matter of, I have to pick you because of the risk. And it's the same for women. We are having a lot of biasness when it comes to women joining technical courses because that's not how we have been brought up. We are brought up to take the little risk. So when I take the higher risk of having to be an engineer, sometimes the world needs to encourage me by picking me because of the risk I've taken. So it's just a mask of I'm taking. It's a matter of I'm taking you because of the risk that you have taken, not because I'm favoring you. So we can also have an engagement on the same, and our women are going to be empowered such that it's not that anymore. It's about the skill set, where now it's a competition between how skilled you are, not which gender you are. So it's a call for us. The word initiative has come up a lot in this conversation. What is your initiative? Take the initiative to be inclusive. Take the initiative to have accessible project, accessible systems to everyone. Cindy? So it's our call. It's a call to everyone outside and also inside to engage in responsible computing with inclusivity and accessibility. So I'll have my fellow moderator also make his conclusive comments. It's been a nice session. Thank you for the panelists for being lively. Thank you for joining the conversation. So let's have
Okay, thank you, Zawadi. Thank you, each and every one of us, for attending this session. It's been a very good one, and of course, very fruitful. I've noticed that we've got so many questions during this session, and an advice to you guys that let's continue promoting inclusivity and accessibility in as much as technology is concerned. Thank you very much, and have a very good afternoon. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate our panelists once more. I hope that everybody is following what we are doing in today on the responsible computing challenge, right? Are you getting anything? Are you getting anywhere? Are you eager to get deeper and deeper into this? All right. We will be having another session in the afternoon, but just before we end, remember that we are live on Meru University. That is the YouTube channel, and also we are on splido.com. We displayed the code to join the splido.com on our YouTube channel. And just to make some more engagements today, we want you to do one thing, one favor. Are you ready? Are you ready? So we're live, right? We want to make this event that is happening here be known worldwide, right? We are supposed to share what we are getting from our panelists and everybody else so that everybody can benefit. So when you get to YouTube, Meru University, just share the link to your friends, share the link to your colleagues, like and comment. For more engagements, we'll get right back on our socials. And remember, Meru University of Science and Technology, keep following us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Meru University. Now, we will be getting to the lunch break. I know most of you are quite tired and you need to relax a bit, right? Just a short break and then we get back, right? So the break is 1 hour. From now, we'll be getting back to this venue at 2 p.m. so that we can conclude on our third session. So 1 hour is enough for the lunch break. Make sure you socialize, bond, and share other insights with your colleagues. Those from Meru University, be good friends to your colleagues. Show them around. Help them learn anything that they are eager to learn while here at Meru University. So don't go away. We'll be right back to sprinkle more magic on your day.
The Meru University of Science and Technology is a world-class university. It is located in Tigania West constituency in Meru County, 15 kilometers northeast of Meru town, along the Meru-Makutano-Maua Highway. Established with a charter on March 1, 2013, Meru University has been a pivotal force in advancing higher education and research. It has seen significant growth in curriculum, staff, student enrollment, infrastructure, and research collaborations, solidifying its position as a leading institution in academia and innovation. With a rapidly growing population, it has extended its reach by inaugurating a campus in Meru town, located at the Heart Towers, a learning center in Marimba, and a research institute in Mariene. In pursuit of our mission to provide quality university education, training and research in science, technology and innovation, the university has successfully implemented the quality management system and was the first in Kenya to be awarded the ISO 9001 to 2015 certification. Discover the architectural wonders of Meru University, where brilliance meets innovation. From the majestic engineering complex to the vibrant theaters, the Innovation Center to the upcoming nursing complex, each building is a masterpiece of modern design. At Meru University, state-of-the-art buildings are dynamic hubs for learning and discovery. Lecture rooms and labs foster academic excellence. Their elegant design and innovation inspire creativity, elevating the educational experience, a testament to artistry and progress. The Ruben Marambi Library, a beacon of knowledge at Meru University, stands as a sanctuary for learning. With its vast collection of books, digital resources and serene ambience, it provides students with a conducive environment for academic exploration and intellectual growth.